What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the Knicks Cave. I'm Jan, the Nick fan, your host, and let's get right into it. But before we do, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment. You want to know when the next video going to drop. Hit that notification bell. All right, y'all, let's get into this video. What a game. You know what I'm saying? What a game. And this was a game against I'm not even going to say against a powerhouse team. And I'm not going to take nothing away from the last victory, although they are one of the worst teams in the league. That's Washington Wizards. But that game against the Bulls, that was a well-deserved win because the way the Bulls came out and did us that first game, the Knicks needed that victory. You know what I'm saying? Drop 3 games in a row to come back and win 3 games in a row. And before we won them 3 games in a row, I was on Twitter and I was just reading people tweets, and they was giving it to Mike Brown. I don't know if some of y'all heard it. Maybe some of y'all wrote it. But Tom Thibodeau still got his fans and still got a lot of love amongst Knicks fans. I'm not gonna say I'm a Tom Thibodeau hater. Some of y'all might say I am if y'all been watching me for the last few years. But I'm loving everything that Mike Brown is doing with this team right now. It's early in the season. It's only 8 games. We're 8-3. We're 5-3. Uh, we was a much better road team. That's what we got to work on. Our road games. We got to start winning games when we're not home. We are 5-0 at home, so we got to start winning games off the road. And once we do, Mike Brown will start getting that praise that I think he deserves because he's doing a hell of a job right now. We're gonna talk about where the team is at last year and where they was at this year, the first 8 games, and we're gonna look at their records, and they're similar. And we're gonna see who has the better record out of the two coaches. But I'm not gonna make this a Mike against Tibbs video. No, I'm not. I'm just letting y'all know that I'm getting tired of hearing the narrative that I'm hearing about Mike Brown. I think Mike Brown is doing a hell of a job right now. So far, because Mitchell Robinson, we're working on that player management with Mitchell Robinson. We've seen several different starting rotations. You know what I'm saying? And once we get that rotation down packed, I think our starting rotation is going to come soon. When we're going to have a steady 5-man rotation. We know there's going to be days when Mitchell Robinson's not going to play, so we're going to have a backup starting 5 rotation, and I think we're going to see that. And I think we seen that last night. But let's get into this game for a hot second because y'all seen the thumbnail. I do want to talk more about Mitchell Robinson, and I definitely want to talk about OG Anunoby because I think OG Anunoby is going to be the third option on this team. In the last 3 games, last 4 games, he's averaging somewhere around 20 something points a game. I talked about this man being a difference maker on his team from last year, and that was one of my biggest peeve about Tibbs. No, I'm not going to make this a video about me talking about Tibbs and what he did wrong last year, but you got to admit, the way you see the guys, the way they're playing right now, you got to admit that factors in. You know what I'm saying? The tightness, the stubbornness of last year's coach to what we see right now in this coach, the difference, the ball movement, the the cohesiveness, the joy, you know what I'm saying, the confidence, not just the starters, but on the bench players, from the bench players, you know, guys getting in and loving every minute of it. Jordan Clarkson, I was a little skeptical because of his starters games, but it's still early in the season. He's still finding his place, getting to know these guys and when he's going to get the ball. I'm liking what Brown's doing. I see Brown once the game starts. Let's walk away from the starting unit for a second and get the game into flow. I see the unit that I see the rotation he like to use. He like to run with Brunson, Anunoby, and Bridges. Them the main 3 factors in that core on that unit when it's switching up. And then he loves to go with Towns, Clarkson, and McBride and Hart. Hart worked both in both scenarios, but them are the 3 main factors. You know what I'm saying? And you get offense from out of that group, from both of them groups, when it's not the starters on the floor together. Now, before I get to Anunoby and Mitchell Robinson, like I said I'm not gonna make this about Tom Thibodeau, but what I want to talk about is where we was at last year and where we at right now. If you look at it, there's no difference. Matter of fact, we've one game better record. You know what I'm saying? We're excuse me, 5-3. Last year we was 4-4. So the Knicks is still on track. You know what I'm saying? Actually, if you look at it, we on track to be one game better than we our record was last year. If we could continue to do what we do, we play the Brooklyn Nets next. I think that should be a victory. I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm liking what I'm seeing from this coach. I'm liking what I'm seeing from this team. I like the way they playing. The season is still early, and they just going to get better. Keep our fingers crossed. We don't get any major injuries. Injuries happen throughout the season, but no season ending injuries. Just keep our fingers crossed. And let's talk about that third scoring option, which I believe will be OG Anunoby. Like I said, 4 games. He's been having the last 4 games averaging 20 points, so 20 something points, doing a little bit of everything. The other night he had 2 steals, a few women. Anunoby had how many rebounds? Excuse me for a second. Getting over a cold. So what? How many rebounds? Yeah, 8 rebounds, went 10 for 17 from the field, 3 for 5 from downtown, 2 free throws, 1 block, 2 steals, 1 turnover, a plus minus ratio of 14. He can be our third option scoring. I mean, this was what we was missing last year. Guys being comfortable and being ready to go out and score and not have to worry about looking over their shoulder, having worrying about a coach, you know what I'm saying, not being run into the ground. Mike Brown got the rotation. When I say rotation, he's working these minutes. And I like the way he's working these minutes. I just gotta be real with you. I'm loving the way he's working these minutes. And speaking about minutes, we have to talk about Mitchell Robinson and the way Mike Brown is doing player management, whatever y'all want to call it. A lot of people are upset. Some people are upset about Mitchell Robinson not playing every night. And I'm not, because we know he's suffered. We know Mitchell Robinson injury prone. And I don't think that ankle is 100%. And Mike Brown is working him back into the game slowly but surely. I give it by maybe January, he'll be playing back to back games. And then he might not. You know what I'm saying? If we got a back to back game, he probably won't play. He probably played 2 games in one weekend and missed the third game in that week. If we got 3 games from Monday to Saturday. And that'll be just to holding him out and keeping him fresh and keeping him healthy for the playoffs. Because we're going to be in the playoffs. And look at the way Mike Brown is utilizing Jalen Brunson's minutes. You know, sometimes you barely see him in the second quarter. And that's because our bench is playing with so much confidence. They're not looking over their shoulders. Like, oh, if I make this bad pass, I'm getting yanked out the game. They're not having to feel that way. So they're playing so much freer. No knock on Tibbs. You know, so I'm not trying to put Tibbs down. I, I know Tibbs still has his fans, his supporters, but like I said, this is going to be a better year than last year. Even if the Knicks don't win 50 games, even we win somewhere like 48, 49, but I'm expecting the Knicks to win 55 games, probably 60. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm looking at the 60. I'm looking in the 60 margin for the Knicks this year. But even if we don't and we make the playoffs, get to the Eastern Conference Finals, get to the second round, get to the first round. Now we get knocked out in the first round. I will be disappointed, but I wouldn't call it a failure because this is the man first year. People are still getting used to his system. We still can use a couple of more pieces when it comes to the bench, or a couple of players getting more relaxed and coming into themselves, you know, just in case the guy go down. But I have every confidence in this coach that he will get us back to the Eastern Conference. Let me know. Hit me in the comments. Tell me what y'all think. Is Mike Brown the right guy for this team? So far, only 8 games in, not 10 games. People who are still talking and comparing him to Tom Thibodeau. But I'm thinking, why? It's too early. You know what I'm saying? Let's get a quarter into the season before we say, hey, before we really start doing the comparison. Let's say, hey, what the hell is going on here? 25 games, 20 games. Let's give the man 20 games and see what it is before we get on the man back. All right. And with that being said, I want everybody to stay safe, stay healthy. God bless and peace.